This is the Rolling with Tay podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, aka Tay, and this is episode 13. And my guest on today's episode is Asia. We'll get into the awesomeness of Asia in a few, but uh, thank you for being a guest, first of all.
Thank you for
and
having me.
of course. So I Bike New York posted, I think, a video of you on their page. And I'm like, who is this black woman on a mountain bike? Like, what is this? So I go to your page and I saw all these awesome videos, content, and then I don't know how, but we messaged each other, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I think I saw that you were coming out for the Fibro tour. I was like, I hope I get a chance to see you. Now, in the back of my mind, there's thousands of people, so I didn't think I was going to see you. I was like, hopefully, but the packet pickup.
Mm-hmm.
I go there to pick up my packet, and I noticed you in line with a couple people. Now I'm on the phone with my friend, and I wasn't quite sure if it was you, so I think I was trying to go to your Instagram. I was like, "Is that her?"
Let me just
But
say,
you
I just,
looked at me, and then we were like, "Yes."
ah! I think I looked back, I was like, you? Yeah.
Yes, yes. That's exactly how it went. And I was like, and we took a picture together and I asked you if you would be on my podcast and here we are.
Here we are. Here we are. And congratulations, by the way. I love that you're doing this. This is awesome.
uh thank you. But yeah, like I said, I followed you and looked at your content and I was like, this is super dope. What she's doing is super dope. And like we were talking a little bit before we started recording, I was like, you look like you have a lot to say about the space that you're in. And, not too many of people that look like us are that I see represented in the space. And,
Yeah.
I just wanted to give you a platform. And so you can,
Thank you.
share some
Yeah.
stuff with us.
Hopefully, I have something valuable to share. I feel like I'm just a regular chick that likes to ride bikes. And if someone resonates with that, they like it, I'm like, yes. But I appreciate the space. I really do. Thank you so much.
Of course, of course. Um, so before we get into the topic at hand, I may sound a little raspy because I am just getting over a cold. So hopefully I don't cough
You sound great. You
up this
sound
whole
great.
episode. But with Thanksgiving just being last week, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was restful and enjoyable. Like my husband and I did a very lazy Thanksgiving this year. We went to a friend's house for dinner on Thanksgiving Day, but most of the holiday weekend we just chilled. Like it was one point where we were sitting on the couch and we looked at each other and we were like, should we do something? Like, should we go outside? Like it was like the perfect weekend to do nothing. And we don't get very many of those where it's just nothing to do. Oh, we took full advantage. So when it came time Monday to like go back to work, it took a lot of effort to turn on. I think it's what Thursday, right? I think I'm still turning on. Like I'm still not back all the way, but it was just nice. It was really nice to just have a break. And then a couple more weeks and we got the Christmas holiday. We got another nice break coming up. So I'm feeling
That is
good.
right.
What about you? What did you do for Thanksgiving?
Uh, I worked. I work. I
Real?
work in TV production,
Oh,
and I
cool.
work the Thanksgiving Day Parade for CBS. So
Oh, so you have,
I was
oh,
working.
that's more exciting. Talking about the Macy Day Parade? Oh man, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's a bucket list for me. That's a bucket list for me. What's that experience like there?
it's you know what? I had never gone to it or watched it before I started working it, and it is just to see all those people. First of
Yeah.
all, these people
Yeah.
are out just as early as we are, and we're
Mhm.
there like 3:30 in the morning. People are lining up, getting their spot, and it's the balloons. Just I stay upstairs. I don't even go outside. That's how I don't. I don't even go on the street. Um, but it's just amazing to see. You know what I'm saying? Experience it at least one time in your life.
Yeah. Okay.
So
It's on there.
if you can
It's
make it
it
out,
always looks amazing.
yeah, yeah. If you can make it out, I would recommend you do it.
Mhm.
I would say do it. But yeah, I was inside watching it.
Relax.
I was not outside.
Oh
Hmm.
gosh, but yeah, the way we met was definitely like we were supposed to meet for sure. We were supposed to meet for sure.
Right.
All those people, like
Definitely.
it doesn't. Yeah, it. That's I call that a God wink right there when it's just like little things align like that just out of nowhere. So I'm grateful for our us running into each other.
Yes, that's right. Me as well. So when people think of mountain biking, I don't think the first thing that comes to mind is women being in that space. So my first question is, what made you start mountain biking, and like how has it empowered you as a woman being in that space?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, my husband's the one who got me into mountain biking. So yeah, there's not a lot of women in the
Mm,
sport, but it was a man who encouraged me to try. He had been mountain biking like for years, but once we moved to Texas, it became more of a hobby. It was a COVID hobby really for him because
mm,
we moved here in 2020 when everything was shut down basically. But he had been riding, and then finally he was like, "You should join me." So he bought me a really low budget bike off Craigslist because I didn't think I would ride very much. And we went on the trails, and I hated it because I was falling. I hit my shin on the pedal, like it was horrible, but something about that I actually really liked. Like, cause, so I've got an athletic background. I was a cross country track and field runner. So like,
mm,
I'm all about like, I'm going to conquer this. I'm going to do this. So a lot of the frustration I had at first with biking, I was just like, no, I'm going to get this. And it was one of those things where like, I could actually see my improvement. Like each time we went out, even though I was just like, I don't want to do this again. I hurt my leg yesterday. I fell again. Like the next time I rode, I remember the spot I fell. I could do something different. Like I could see myself improving each time I rode. Whereas a lot of other things, you don't really see that improvement until like further down the road. Whereas with mountain biking, like every single time I did it, I could see myself learning something different. And quite honestly, like riding a bike, it really isn't hard. Like it's just pedaling and balancing. But when you add like a trail with turns and curves and drops, it's a much more technical experience. So
mm-hmm,
I really liked that it was like a focus for me, I guess you could say. Like, I have my day at work and my mind's all over the place, but when I come out to the trails, it's like the only thing I can absolutely focus on is that. Otherwise, if I think about something else, I could probably mess up on the trail. So that's how I got into it. And like, I guess the empowerment aspect of it is just being able to get better at something that I thought I was terrible at first. And then being, okay, this is going to sound like I'm like wiping my shoulders off, but like getting the other empowering piece is getting so good to where I can outperform guys in something that they dominate.
mm-hmm.
Probably sounds really bad to say, and no diss to guys. We love the guys. But it feels good, like a space that they typically dominate, and like I've gotten to a point in my skill set where I could go toe to toe with most men who ride recreationally and be just fine. So that's the feel good part about it for me.
You know, I I've watched mountain bike videos. My friend, he'll send me something. He's like, "Yo, you gotta come on a trail with us." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I'll come out." But then these videos, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna come out.
I don't want to do that.
I just, I don't know. I don't know. It just like I would like to because it looks really cool. But then another part of my like mine is like, but you hit that turn the wrong way, and it's a wrap for you.
Any,
You're done.
yeah. But see, it's funny you say that too, because that's one of the things I noticed too is like the perception of mountain biking. Like if I were to like when I first started, I Google mountain biking and you see like big cliffs and 20 foot like it's this extreme perception. And I'm like, when I finally got into it, I'm like, yeah, that reality exists, but that's just a segment of mountain biking. And I feel like sometimes women see only that segment and think, oh, no, I can't do that. But when you get into it, you realize, oh, there's more recreational pieces of it. Like, I don't have to be 30 feet in the air, or I don't have to do that rock thing. Like, you kind of recognize that there is a little bit of space for me. So, one of the soapboxes that I stand on frequently is that I think the marketing around my mountain biking needs to evolve, and not just include the competitive piece of it, but also the more recreational, everyday piece of it, because that's how you get more people into it. If we're only showing the Red Bull rampage, everyone's going to think, oh, that's only for those risk takers. And it's like, no, there's a whole other, there's so many other segments of it that can be really enjoyable. So that's my little soapbox.
No, but yeah, because you're right. I think it does, especially the way it is portrayed on social media.
Yeah.
Like you get
Yeah.
this like extreme sport, jumping off ramps and on the trail, and it's
Yeah.
again, it looks really cool. But then, if you don't come from that world, you kind of like, I'm not gonna do that. Like that just
Yeah.
looks too out there for me. And you're right, that is the perception I get of it. And it's like, well, until I get out there and actually ride and actually see the different trails, then I'm like, oh, all right, well, this wasn't so bad. But in my mind, I see those videos and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's why I think it's important that women like you and me do exist in these spaces because we can show that other piece of it. We can show that it's not just the Red Bull rampage. It's hey, it's Tuesday and I just want to do a quick 3 mile loop, and it just gave me so much freedom today and made me feel just really good about myself. Or I got to get rid of whatever stress. Like there's more to it. So the more I think people like you create spaces like this and we kind of keep showing up and sharing, like I just think it creates more opportunity for other ladies to see like, hey, we out here. Come on.
Right.
Come on.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, yeah, join me. Like, yes.
Come on.
Um,
It's good.
yeah. um, uh, we spoke earlier off camera about um you doing it competitively.
Mhm.
Um, so then, okay, what took this from just doing it, like leisurely to now I want to go further with it and compete?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I will say again, I think part of it is um I'm just I like to compete, period. Like and it's less about winning and beating someone. I know, right? It's less about, oh my God, I gotta beat this person, but I just like the experience of competition. Like it's everybody's putting their best foot forward, like we're all trying to better ourselves. I like that aspect of competing. And I got a lot of that from running. And so when I got into mountain biking, of course, as soon as I find out that there's races, I'm like, I want to give it a try. So my focus, I love doing enduro racing. Like that is just high adrenaline. Like it's something about it that I'm obsessed with. But I started out competing doing cross country mountain biking, which is like, 20, 30 miles. It's distance riding.
Hmm.
So that was my first taste of competition. And then when I discovered enduro, which I was terrified at first, because again, my perception of enduro was everything that I'd seen advertised. I'm like, oh my God, I can't jump. I don't know how to do drops like that yet. I don't want to hurt myself. But once I actually participated in a race, I realized that it's not like that extreme. And then you can walk sections, you can literally make it what you want. But I don't know, just being around a bunch of people that just want to get better at something, it just felt good. And then every now and then you spot a woman. I think the first enduro race I did, there was probably out of the maybe 200 plus gentlemen, there were maybe like 13, 12 women, and I might be overestimating. Wasn't a lot of ladies, but it was still cool to see them out there. Like, oh my God, there's girls that do this too. Okay, all right, we're out here. So, but, but yeah,
Wow. So the races are co-ed, majority of them, or the
yeah,
first couple ones you started in, they were co-ed.
yeah. For enduro, and then again, so I'm not going to act like I'm the expert in enduro, but in the races that I've experienced, I think it could depend on who the promoter is, like who's actually running the race. But the races that I've done, like in Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma areas, they're all co-ed. We're still like competing. I'm still competing against every other woman, but we're
Okay.
all running like it's a mixed blend with running the courses. And then the difference with so cross country is just like it sounds like everybody's off to the races, and then it's the men category, women category. But with enduro, it's staged racing. So like there could be 10 stages
Mm.
with the whole race, and those 10 stages could total anywhere from like 5 miles to 40 miles. And it's just you running the stage by yourself. So each stage individually could be 1 mile, it could be 10 miles. It could, it's just however the promoter wants to organize it. So I'm riding the stage or racing the stage by myself, but there could be a guy that runs the stage right behind me. So it could be girl, guy, girl, guy, girl, guy, or it could be a bunch of guys doing a bunch of girls. We're timed separately, but we're all kind of racing it together. And typically with me not being, if there is a guy behind me, I know he's faster. I'll just be like, can you like wait like 2 minutes before you start? It's like if you just give me 2 minutes and then you can go because I just want to make sure you don't ride up on my tail and run me off. But but, but it's fun. I like it.
Yeah, that's good. Um, that's I think that's really good. Um, Especially like we are talking about being in a space where you don't see a lot of women, right? Now, how is it being a woman of color? Like, what challenges do you think you've had to overcome or deal with, you know, being a black woman mountain biker?
um, see, this is a tough one because it's like there's different verticals. So I will say, as just a black woman racing in mountain biking, I don't necessarily know. I haven't necessarily experienced a hurdle when it comes to signing up for a race. Or it's just like it's me and probably one other black girl that's out there, and it's just me kind of just recognizing that there's not a lot of us in the space. I will say, I started a nonprofit where I wanted to help get more women into enduro, and I wanted to help give them scholarships, like that was a program I was really passionate about. It was in that space where I started experiencing hurdles. So there were promoters that,
Mm,
and I'll never say names because I'm not that type of person, but there were promoters that would tell
mm-hmm,
me like, well, who do you think you are to come into this space? Like they don't own any of the courses. None of these people they don't own the territory. They just happen to be promoters themselves, but they would say, well, you need to come through us first. Like, or who do you think you are? You're starting this man hater organization. It was just like, it was in that space where I received most of the negative energy. And surprisingly enough, even in that space, there were women-led organizations that were uh, just not so nice. We'll just say it that way, just not so nice. And I don't want to necessarily fully blame that on the fact that I was black, and more so just I'm someone else coming
mm-hmm,
into their territory and they may feel threatened by me, even though my intention was to build partnerships to bring more people to their organizations. Um,
mm-hmm,
so that's kind of like that. And then like I don't know if this was just an experience I had. I don't know if it's necessarily tied to race, but I know sometimes when me and my husband go through the trails, like there's this automatic assumption that we're beginners. Not that being a beginner is bad, but there's this automatic assumption that hey, you probably don't. I've never. You don't know. You probably don't know. And most reactions, anytime we meet someone new at the trails, anytime we row with them, they're always shocked at our abilities. Like, oh, wow, you're really great at this. Oh, and it's just like, well, why did you think I wasn't? Again, I'm not going to fully say that it was race, but it's just little things like that you notice. Like, if you and I showed up to the trail, like, I'm not going to assume that you're not a good rider. I'm just going to like, hey, let's ride. We'll figure it out. Most of the time, I'm not even thinking about someone's ability. I'm like, let's just have fun. But there was always that extra element of, whoa, you're really good. It's like, all right, cool. Can we keep going now? So I don't know. And then I think about, like, black women in our hair. Like, hair is like a thing in our, like, we take really good care of our hair, and we have different complexities to our hair. It's just different. And I feel like some of the products or the accessories in mountain biking, like, we gotta find workaround. Like, I can't set that helmet just on my head. Like, I gotta put some type of coverage, and it's like cross blending stuff. So, but that could be with anyone. So, but it's just little things like that I think about too. So.
No, I can definitely see that when you're showing up to the trail and people looking at you like not so much like what are you doing here, but like, oh yeah, let me show you how to do this, or and you're like, oh, I do this. And I
Yeah.
think it's because we we're not traditionally in that space, right? So they
Mhm.
automatically are thinking like, oh well, they're beginners. They just picked this up, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, shit,
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a few years now. I've grown up doing this. So
Yep.
I
Yeah.
guess to them, since they don't see many of us in these spaces, they think we're new and beginners, but that's not always the case.
I was okay.
A
Like,
lot of the
just
times, that's not always the case.
look at me as a person. Like, I always joke with friends. I'm like, most of the time, I don't. Obviously, I'm aware and very proud of being black, but most of the time in social settings, I'm only reminded that I'm black because you brought it up, or you had to be so delicate with something because you don't want to fit. Like, just be normal. Just talk. Like, let's just hang out. It doesn't have to be the extra. Don't remind me that I'm different from you. Let's just talk. So
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, oh, speaking of, so does your husband race as well,
yes.
or he just
Oh,
does
he
it
loves it.
leisurely?
Yeah, he and I raced. So just context, like, I think I shared this with you off camera. Like, when we first started, like, we went full send into mountain biking. Like, we were riding every day, racing literally every other weekend. Like, I'm packing up, we're driving to another state, another city, like hardcore for like a good year and a half when we started. And so he enjoys racing, but we're kind of at a point where we're like, let's dial it back a little bit. Like, we're not as much into competing. Like, we still would race, but it would have to be somewhere we haven't been before. Not local, just something like
Hmm.
we have to travel to something different, like bike New York. We just want to like do something fun, but we're more recreational, much more leisure now. We still find enjoyment, but we had we had to we had to dial it back to pace ourselves. I think we did. We went a little too hard first year and a half, and now it's like, okay,
Yeah.
let's just pace ourselves because we still want to enjoy it because it gives so much back to you, and we don't want to get tired of it. So, like, let's just start pacing ourselves now, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to do like burnout, like going full throttle, and then it's like, oh, you wore yourself out. Now you don't even want to, you know, uh, uh, be involved in that thing anymore. You need to take
Yeah,
time back, and I know that's happened to me with just you. This is something new. You like, I love this, and now you're like uh, going to
no,
all the events and going all spending all the money, and then you like, uh maybe I need to slow down. But I was like that when I first got into cycling, road cycling. I was like, oh, I'm going, looking at the
yeah,
different events, um, the anywhere I could go ride, I was going. And then, found a community of people, and then you going here, you going there, you going there. Like, now I've done like you. I've kind of dialed it back a little bit, and just trying to, with the skating too, because I also skate. So I'm like, let me get back into skating, and let me, do a little this. And I started running and certain things. I
Yeah,
started learning how to swim. So I got to try to spread my time,
true. Yeah.
in
I was,
different places. But
I was gonna say I do love that you're versatile with it. Like it's you know, like you do the cycling. I was gonna say I do like watching your skate videos with the 360 camera. Like those are the best. You can keep doing those. I really enjoy those because I haven't seen much in New York and I get to see a lot of it in your videos. But I like that
thank
you've
you,
got
thank
that
you.
versatility. Like I think that's really important. I actually started, so I didn't skate on the road, but I did go roller skating a couple times this summer because of your videos. And I forgot
Nice,
how fun
nice.
it is. I forgot how much fun it is. Oh my gosh! Like now, granted, it's been a while since I've rollerbladed, but so it took me a minute. But oh my gosh, I forgot. I remembered how to like turn and just do all the random little tricks. But uh, yeah, versatility is important. So I'm glad that you showcased all of that. All of that.
Thank you, thank you. And you know what? To be honest, I think for me, I may get bored with something, so that's why I have to switch it up. And I
Yeah,
do truly enjoy these other things. So it's like, all right, for me to not get bored with this, and for me to also keep active, let me try this other thing. Let me get back into this other thing. So that's,
yeah.
I think that's what it is for me. Because I'll be like, I'm done with it. I need some time.
Ah,
Um, so with mountain biking and other forms of cycling, um, I speak about this all the time. Like, the what effects has it had on you, mentally and physically, like your overall fitness?
that's a good one. I'll start with physically because that's easier to just rattle off. But great legs, great butt, great arms, great core. Not the best now because I haven't ridden as much lately, but yeah, it works. Literally works out everything, and you'll be surprised how quickly you start to see results. I'm like, "Ooh, what? Where did that muscle come from? That's good." But yeah, my legs were probably the strongest they've been. And I've got the running background, but cycling, like there was a new level of strength in my legs that I didn't know I had. So that was amazing. Mentally, I will say, like, it's kind of helps me adapt like a new level of focus. So there's times where like
Mm.
I struggle with being anxious because I like clarity. I like to know the future. So in times of uncertainty, I'm like, this doesn't feel comfortable. Um, and you often have many of those moments on the bike where if you haven't been super familiar with the trail, you don't know what's coming around the next corner. So you got to always be ready. And I think knowing how to respond and like this sounds really weird, but this is how it translates to me. It's like on the bike, I've learned how to respond in uncomfortable or uncertain situations. Like I just know how to like be prepared for it. And when I see it, I can react.
Mm.
And in everyday life, it's kind of like that too. Like things are always going to happen. Some things, we go through these highs and lows, and it's just kind of knowing how to be prepared and react to those and responding to those situations. Like you can't hesitate or freak out on the trail because that's where all the mistakes happen. Like if there's a feature I'm about to go through or a drop I may take, the minute you hesitate, it's you're crashing. Like that's it. You've got to fully commit yourself to it. And same, like I take that into just life mentally, like fully committing to decisions, like and being present in those decisions. So mentally, it's just helped me try and focus better. Um, Not being so, oh my God, what's gonna happen next? It's just all right, let's ride through it. We've done this before. Even though we haven't seen this feature before, we know how to handle technical sections. We know how to handle drops, sudden drops. We know how to like let the bike take us. And again, like I translate that to like life. It's again, life isn't just, I'm not just being dragged by life, but I know how to react when uncomfortable or uncertain situations happen. Um, so that's kind of how I've connected the two, or that's been my experience with it at least. So hope that don't
Yeah.
sound too
Yeah.
deep, but that
No, that is I usually say it all the time. Like if I'm feeling any type of way, I know I can get on my bike. And for me, if I'm feeling anxious, or I'm feeling a little down, I can get on my
yeah.
bike and I can't really focus. My focus is in front of me. My focus
Yep.
is like what's around me. I can't really focus, like you said, too much on this, I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling,
Mm-hmm.
I have
Yeah.
to focus on what's in front of me. If I see, uh, try to anticipate if this person's going to cross the street, this car behind me is going to swerve around. I'm looking on the ground to see if there's any nails, if there's any glass. Like I'm not really thinking about what may have made me anxious. And
Mm-hmm.
while I'm trying to focus on this ride, I'm not anxious anymore. I'm I'm really just
Yeah.
the anxiety is gone now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just riding and I'm enjoying the ride. And if I've never been sad on a bike. I've never been or gotten off a bike and been like, "Oh, I wish I wouldn't have gone on that ride." Even when I've fallen off the bike, I never
Yep.
said, "Oh, I wish I had." I never had that. And I hope I never do. But it's like every time I get on a bike and even throw on my skates, I feel better. It's like
Yeah.
therapeutic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is kind of therapeutic for me.
100%. It's like forces you to be present. I think I read somewhere, I don't know who
Right.
the
Yes.
person is. I'm
Yes.
sorry to not quote them, but they were saying they compared cycling to like a moving meditation. Like it
Mm,
forces you to be present. And so, like you said, you're looking at the ground, you're looking at the car coming up next to you, we're checking the light. Like you're fully present in that moment, making decisions. And it just comes easy to you. So being able to take that into just everyday life and being present and aware of like what's literally right in front of me and being able to make decisions in a calm space, like it's really helpful. It's really helpful.
yeah. I said this on the last episode. Everyone, get on the bike.
Get on the bike. Get on the bike.
Get on the bike. No matter if it's a mountain bike, a gravel bike, a road bike, an e-bike, get on a bike and
Oh
you'll feel
gosh,
better.
bike. I want to hop on the e-bike trend. Yay!
Oh man. Every time I see an e-bike like pass me, I'm just like, take me with you. Like let me hold on, and just yeah,
It's not even
but
fair on the road. Come
I
on, that's not even fair.
oh gosh. Oh man. So so it's just strictly been mountain biking. Have you ever like dabbled in road bike cycling or gravel cycling?
I've dabbled in road. I do have a road bike. I don't ride as often because I'm terrified to get run over. But I do like, I will say what I like about road biking is I could ride 40 miles and still like have a full day after me. Like you can get a lot more miles under you, a lot more calories, and it doesn't take away from you. Whereas like mountain biking is a lot more like I'm not saying cycling is not physical, but I'm engaged a lot more on the trails. And so after 10 miles, I feel like I rode 20 miles. But I
Mm,
like road is where I can ride, I can get a lot of good miles under me and still feel like refreshed, if that makes sense. Um, but so yeah, but I didn't know this until I got into cycling. Apparently, there's this rivalry between mountain bikers and roadies that I don't want to be a part of. I just want to ride my bike. I'm like, I didn't know they're two wheels. I enjoy both. Like, can we all just get along? So, is it the same in New York? Like, is there really? What is it?
Listen, I don't know. If you show up to a ride on a mountain bike, people gonna look at you a little like, where you going?
Well,
What you
yeah,
doing with
well,
that?
that part.
I,
So,
I mean, they'll accept you. They'll accept you, but they're gonna be talking about you. Like, did you see this person on that bike?
yeah. Like the personas are. It's like this isn't my description. This is me sharing what I've been told. But like mountain bikers are like the beer drinkers, and roadies are like the coffee drinkers. And I'm like,
Ooh,
well, I like both. So, but that's like
yes.
here in Texas. That's the. I still don't know what the rivalry is, but yeah, they don't like each other.
I can see that. I can see that. I can see that. I can say I don't know. I only know like a handful of mountain bikers, but they also like are road
They do
cyclists as
road
well.
biking, but
So
yeah, they're good people.
yeah,
They're good
so I
people.
don't know. Yeah, they are great people. They are great people. Um, yeah, so I don't know too many. But yeah, I like everyone. Everyone who has, like you said, two wheels. Come on.
Come on.
Even if you have four wheels, come on. Come on. You have wheels. Come on.
I know wheels. All wheels welcome.
There you go. All wheels welcome. Okay. That's our ride. We're gonna start that ride. All
Start it.
wheels welcome. Yep, 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 yep. We'll have the
Yep.
first one in Texas and then the second one will be in New York. Yeah. All wheels welcome.
Like, come on. Come on.
um do you have any specific cycling goals coming up in like are you thinking about getting back into racing, maybe dabbling in another discipline? Maybe you'll say, hey, I'm gonna do gravel. you know um any specific goals?
I think for right now, I would like to get back into competing. Life is lifing right now. So I haven't been able to compete as much as lifing. And then also, like, sidebar, competing is expensive, like oddly expensive. Which I think, just me personally, and again, no knock to anybody who does race promotion, but I think that's a little unfair. Like, it makes it, uh, puts it out of reach for a lot of people, especially beginners. Because if I'm new to the space and I'm unsure, most people aren't going to want to make that big of an investment for something they don't even know if they'll enjoy. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't competed as much. There's a lot more expenses at play, like renting a big car to drive there, and then getting an Airbnb, and the actual entry fees are like
Yeah.
$175, and you're like, what's going on? Okay, but short. So goals right now is just to try to ride more consistently. Um, right now I'm probably at once a month right now, current times. And ideally, I'd like to be at least twice a week. That would make me feel good. I feel like I'm going to come up with excuses, though, more recently because it's starting to get cold here in Texas, and I don't want to, which we talked
Yeah.
about this earlier. My cold is like 50 degrees, whereas New York cold is like 20 degrees. So, yeah, just to try and ride more consistently. And then, yeah, I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to make something too like unattainable, but just to ride more consistently now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I definitely feel you. And it is getting cold out, so you could take the winter off, and
no, I'm
then
a seasonal
spring,
rider.
yeah,
I feel
get
like
back right out there. Yeah, yeah, you could do that. I personally, I don't like riding in the winter, so I do have an indoor trainer where I can throw my bike on and
Yeah.
ride on Zwift. So I'll probably do that, but I don't know if I'm going outside like that on my bike. It's just too cold.
Yeah, and lately it's been like this time of year, it's really dry in Texas, like during the summer. So wintertime for us is like we transition into rainy season and then we transition to cold.
Mm,
So in Texas, because it's flatlands, when it rains or any type of precipitation like that, water has nowhere to go. So all the trails just close.
yeah,
And it takes like a week
right.
for the trails to open back up. So right now it's raining, so trails are closed. It's like maybe one of my goals is to get some like you said Swift, right? Is it Swift?
Yeah, yeah,
Like get something like that for the winter months to where I can still ride. Otherwise, I'm gonna be waiting until March to hit that goal. So, oh my gosh, and that's a little too far out. So yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. Okay, yeah. So maybe get on Zwift so you can get in your 2 times a week and keep your goal up, and then in
you're
March
making me feel
get back
better.
out there on the trails. Listen, if I'm gonna hold myself accountable, I'm gonna do the same thing. I want to ride more because I fell off, so I'm gonna ride 2 times a week, 3 times a week. I'm saying that now, but
We got this. We got this.
let's see if that
Yeah, we're
happens.
all in this together. I'm
Right,
pretty sure
right. We
there's
got
some
this.
other person watching that's like, yeah, you know what? That's the truth. I haven't really been twice a week is a good goal this time of year. Like, yeah,
That is. That
yeah,
is
and just
right. Right. A
keep it
short ride.
like, yeah, exactly. And I feel like just keeping another goal is really just making sure I still keep mountain biking close to my heart. Like, not that I have to really try,
Mm,
but it's something I want to continue to do for as long as I can. You know, that would probably be
right.
more long term
Right.
thing. If I were to be all deep and philosophical, I want to do it as long as I can. But yeah, yeah.
Right. No, I, I feel the same way about cycling and skating and being able to do it as long as I can. And so yeah, I think you will. You will. Forget thinking. You will do it.
Give me the thumbs up. I saw you did thumbs up earlier, and then I saw fireworks. I'm like, I want fireworks too.
Yeah, I don't know how that. I do not know why that happens.
Are you
I
on your?
don't like.
Do this.
On,
Do this really quickly. Do the heart hands.
I can't even do that. How can I?
Your
I
hands?
can't.
All right, that's our next goal. We're gonna do heart hands.
I gotta work on that.
It's okay.
Oh gosh. Um, I was about to say. I lost it. Oh, oh. Um, do you still run? Is that part of
Um,
your fitness?
no, not as much anymore. Because I'm gonna running is good, but running is like really high impact on your body, and it's one of those things where like
Mm-hmm.
when you're really intense with it and you do it a lot, you kind of got to keep doing it, otherwise your body could possibly start to break down. Now, if you're recreational, I'm like
Mm-hmm.
recreational, you can still run, but I don't do it as much anymore. Actually, I don't do it at all anymore because biking's just taken over. I like that form of exercise now. I might do like if I felt like I needed to loosen my legs up or something. It was just I feel really tight. I might do like a mile or two, but it's not a regular thing that I do anymore. But it's fun to still watch. I like watching the Olympics and stuff. I
Yeah.
love it.
Like I said earlier, I started running, and I like it, and I see why people
It's
do it.
great.
I see why people do it, and I don't
It's
know
great.
how long I will continue doing it. Like,
Of
I want to
course.
do a triathlon, so that's why I'm starting to run. But
Yeah.
after that, I don't know. Like, I can't see myself today saying I'm going to do a full on marathon,
Yeah.
but maybe
Now,
like a 5K or something like that.
yeah, no, and I will
I
say, so
can
don't
see
let
that.
me be the Debbie Downer, because so context for me is, I was I was a competitive athlete, from high school all the way through college, and even like a few years after I was trying to go pro. So my experience with
Mm,
running like was heavy competition, like it was very intense, and it got to a point where I did not like it anymore. Like I just fell out of love with it because of just the aspects of competing. So that's one of the reasons why I'm like, no,
mhm,
I'm not going to do running anymore. That's just not my thing. But not to say that running isn't a beautiful thing, because I fell in love with it years ago for the same reasons I fell in love with cycling. Like it gave me that same focus. So I think running is still great. Like
mhm,
anyone who wants to try it, like go for it. Like I've even thought about doing 5Ks here and there. So I don't want to be the, oh my God, running is bad, but just for me and my experience and where I am now, yeah, I'm just not a runner anymore, but it's great. I think it's still great.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, and sometimes you do grow out of things that you once loved, and I
Yeah.
think that's we're humans, and we change and we have different interests. So, and I never thought that I would run because it wasn't one of my interests. But now I'm just like, oh, okay, let me, because of this thing I want to do. Oh, okay, now I'm running. But before that, if you would have asked me a year ago, you want to run, I looked at you like you're crazy. Like, I'm not a runner. Why would you ask me that?
I think you'll keep at it. I think you're going to like it a lot. You're going to love it a lot.
We'll see. And then I'm gonna text you like, guess what?
Like, no,
Doing
get
the
back out
marathon.
there. Get back out there.
Uh, I don't know, but I see why people like it, and it's just like with cycling and with swimming. I see why people like these things, and and I and my hope is more of us um continue to do them. Are
Yeah.
in these spaces um, that sometimes we weren't made to feel welcome, you know. Um, and so I just hope that now, and I'm starting to see more. And I'm sure you are too. Um, just see more women and then more people of color doing these activities, which traditionally weren't
Yeah.
activities for us, right? Where you didn't see many people that looked like us.
Yeah. Yeah. We went
So,
out there. I
yeah.
think the more we show up as time continues, it just be like everything else, it'll start to become more of the norm. Like, this is something we all do. So, but it takes people like us just
Right.
showing up and trying it and not being confined to what we're traditionally used to doing or what we feel like we're supposed to be doing. Like, you know, I guess we're renegades in that regard. Like, we're going to try this thing that we know we're typically not doing, but hey, that's the only way for other people to come through that same door, too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. What what do you think, right? Um and I'm going to like, as a whole, for like the whole outdoor space, right? But you can narrow it down to like mountain biking. Like, these brands, these companies, um what do you think they can do to make the space more inclusive to um women, to people of color, um like, make us feel included, where it's like, oh, I want to now, yeah, I want to do this thing, or yeah, this looks, I could just tell you, for me, Subaru, there was a commercial a couple years ago, and Subaru had this black man and black woman in the commercial. They were going camping, and I, first of all, I had never, when I think of Subaru, I don't think, I never had a thought about Subaru.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I see this commercial, and I see this black couple going camping. And
Hmm.
it was, it was kind of funny because they're getting lost and stuff. But I'm just like, I need a Subaru now. My
Yeah.
next car has to be a Subaru, just because
Because of that.
they, I had never seen a commercial like that, and they made me feel like I'm seen, right? They put us in the outdoors in this car, and I was like, I don't care what type of car it is, I want a Subaru. And I think they did a really good job. And then I started seeing other um, commercials doing the same thing, putting us in these outdoor spaces. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you get it, And I thought that was really cool that they did
Yeah.
that. But what do you feel that these companies um, can do to maybe make us feel more included?
That's a good one. I think there's two things come to mind, and one of them is echoing what you've already kind of opened the door for, and that's just putting faces like us in your advertisements. Um, Even when we think about gender, like women weren't in this space a lot, but when you start putting women in your advertisements, we see, oh, there's women that do this. And then when you put women of color in advertisements, it's, wow, there's women of color that do this. One of the brands that I support is called Wild Rye. They do a really good job of just really showcasing the full spectrum of women in general. They've got women of color, they've got white women, they've got women with tattoos, short women, tall women, skinny women, like just the full spectrum of women to the point where you don't even recognize it anymore. You just feel like they're good people because everybody can kind of see themselves and sense it in it. It's like we're not saying, oh my God, just put black people in your advertisement, but like we live in literally a melting pot. Just make your brand a representative of the world we all actually live in. I really love Target. This is not a mountain biking brand, but Target. I don't know if you've been, we've been in Target stores lately. If you've seen the pictures in the different aisles, it's real women. Like in the swimsuit aisle, like women have stretch marks, or they might be, a bigger woman or small. Like they don't look like these perfect models that don't exist in real life. They look like me or my neighbor, and it just makes me feel better shopping there. I think if brands can do more of that, like they'll definitely reach a wider audience. The second thing I'd say is I think oftentimes brands can, they may not say you're not welcome outwardly, but uh, they can price things in a way that tell people they're not welcome. Um, and it's like limit. Well, I'm not going to say that you can't come here, but I'm going to price this at like $10,000 because more than likely you may not be in this space. And that's not. I stole that from, I think Chris Rock told that joke so eloquently. He mentioned like he was talking about hotels. He was like, a hotel
Mm-hmm.
can't tell you that blacks aren't welcome, but if they price the rooms at $10,000 a night, they're kind of sending another signal. And I think if we kind of take that more seriously, like pricing has a big influence. And this isn't to suggest that all black people are lower income. But I do
Mm-hmm.
think like making it fair pricing, making it more accessible to everyone so that we can participate. One of the things I noticed coming into the sport, like apparel, equipment is extremely expensive. Like I purchased most of my original gear off of Amazon. I bought like
Mm-hmm.
$16 chamois, like a $10 jersey. But if I go to some of the local bike shops, a jersey could run you 75, $80. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Like, you know, and again, I'm new, so I don't understand the industry, but to me coming in, that still made me feel apprehensive to want to fully invest. I
Mm-hmm.
get bikes. That equipment should be expensive. There should be a cost to it because there's performance related things you want, and there's a cost associated with getting a certain type of performance. But just to wear a shirt mountain biking or wear certain shoes, um, I feel like those things kind of they limit how many people can actually participate. And I get there's a bottom line, but wouldn't you rather have like 100% of people participating instead of like 20%, like getting this 20% to engage more? Just target the 100%, and I don't know. That's just how I look at it. Cast a wider net. So those two areas, price and just representation, like put the real world in your advertisements. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox.
No, you're right. When you put people that look like us, and I mean us, I mean like everyone, when you put the real
Everyone.
world
Yeah,
in your advertising, um, and you market it to everyone, it's like, okay, now I feel like I can participate in it. But when you
yeah.
don't, it's kind of like intimidating,
I mean,
And then when you're the only one, it's just like, oh damn, and you wonder in the back of your mind, do any people of color do this thing, or are any women doing this thing? And like you said, then you start to see a few. You'll start count. Well, I count. I don't care. I do count. I'm like, all right, well, I saw five,
yeah,
five at the event. You know, um, this is like
yeah.
damn, and
I joke with myself because like I'm not famous by any means, but I'm familiar to a lot of people locally. But I joke with myself and I'm like, well, I'm familiar because I'm easy to remember because I'm the only black girl. I'm pretty sure it'd be hard to remember me if I was like everyone else. But I take that as a gift in itself too, because knowing that I'm in a not like I'm one of the only ones, it gives me the opportunity to share more of a different perspective, and people may listen more because I have that space to do it. I was even going to say, like, if we think about, we're not going to talk politics, but like even with Obama being the president or Kamala Harris being vice president, like people, I feel like our people looked at that as like, I can now see myself in a space like that where I didn't think I was welcome. And maybe for others, they didn't really see the significance in that, but that was a very big moment. Like it shows you that you are welcome in more spaces. Even when we think about like in the corporate perspective, like having you represented in leadership gives you something to aspire to. Like, I don't know, all of those things just help people feel like they matter. They feel more motivated to participate. Like there's a ripple effect to it. So it only does your brand good to have that representation. You're only going to get more people wanting to purchase your product. So,
yeah, a whole new market, and it's the
mm-hmm.
representation, and I from the Bronx, born and raised, and riding my bike, right? I ride, I'm riding around my neighborhoods. When I first started riding, I was looking at people look at me, and I was like, why are they looking at me? Are they looking at me because it's cold out here and I'm out here riding? Are they looking at me because I'm a woman on this bike? I'm dressed in, I have on my kit. Is it that why? Like, why are they looking at? I was wondering why, and maybe it's because they hadn't seen this, right? They really haven't seen it, so they might be
Mm-hmm.
looking at me like, a black woman on a bike, you know. You know, they may go home. You know what I saw today? I saw this black woman on a bike. I don't know, but I want to be. I look at the little kids. I look at everybody. Look at me, and it's just like, I'm representing something that they may have never seen before. And then whether you're a little kid or you're elderly, is like you said, it you could say, okay, cool, like I've seen that. Whereas before, how sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people say, oh well, I don't, black people don't do this, or Latino people don't do
Oh my
that. But it's
gosh.
like now you can actually see that you see me, so um I really pride on myself on being a representation, on a bike,
Mm-hmm.
on skates, on anything that, like I said, when we think of traditionally, when they say this is not a space that we're in, it's just like, I'm here.
I'm here. Like you reminded me, I need to figure out who this person is because like it's there's this audio going around on Instagram. I'm going to send it to you. But the woman speaking, I need to find out who she is. But the woman speaking, she says that oftentimes when we'll just say white. If a white person meets a person of color, and that person, like a black person, that black person doesn't align with what their stereotype was, instead of saying, you know what, I had a really narrow view of black people, like the way I thought about you guys was completely wrong. Instead of saying that, they'll take they'll put that black person in a specific special category. Like you're just this special kind of black person. Not that the way that I view black people was completely wrong. It's like, nope, you're a special kind of black. And it's like she was saying oftentimes people will resist even challenging their own beliefs. Like they want to hold on to those beliefs. And with you saying like people seeing you in the space and being like, whoa, you're not typically not here. What's going on? I think us showing up more and more breaks down that stereotype that black people don't ride bikes. And I do think we also have to hold ourselves accountable because I've heard friends will say, like when I first started writing, some friends they say, oh, that's not stuff we do. We don't do that. And I'm like, yeah, we do. We do. I do it. So we do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like not only challenging their stereotypes, but challenging our own stereotypes too. Like we just got to broaden our horizons on how we think about ourselves. So, but you saying that sparked that thought, and I'm like, it resonated with me so much because I experienced that a lot. Where when people meet me, like I know instantly a lot of people that meet me, they've already got a comparison of what they think, and then when they meet me, I shatter every stereotype they thought. And again, instead of saying, "Man, black people really are versatile," it's no, that's just Aja. She's
Yeah.
different. No, I'm not. No, I'm not different. I'm a representation of my people. We are versatile, just like our hair. Like we can do many things. We are not one thing. We are everything. Like,
That's a fact. That is a
yeah,
fact. And wait, let me stop you right there. So, do you pronounce your name Aja or you pronounce it Asia?
it's Aja. I didn't want to say anything because
Oh
it's okay.
no!
No,
You
you're
you
good.
know why?
You're good.
The reason why I pronounce your name like that because my friend spells her name the same way, and we pronounce it Asia. So
Me and
I'm
her gonna
thinking,
fight. Tell
oh,
her we're gonna fight.
Asia.
Tell Asia, me and her
So
gonna
I'm.
fight. She's the person. Okay, she's the
Oh
person
my
that I've been told about my whole life. So everyone, when people say Asia, they're like, "Oh my God, I have a friend. Her name. I need to find this girl because me and her we're gonna have words."
and and it's funny because we joke sometimes about her name and like people pronouncing it and calling her Aja. And
She probably
damn,
can't
I'm
stand
so
it.
sorry.
No, it's okay. I feel like it compared to the many different pronunciations that I've heard of my name, Asia is on par. Like I'm cool with that. But I've had people call me Aya, Aha. Like it's just like where'd you get that from? And then someone thought my name was AJ, like AJA. They thought I AJ, and I was like, oh, well, that's clever, but no. So
Oh
it's okay.
man,
It's right.
I'm
I wasn't gonna
so
say anything.
sorry.
Let's go back and redo the
Damn.
intro. Okay, pause. We'll redo it at the end and then you
Oh,
splice it.
okay. I'll see if I can do that. I
Or
was
keep
like,
it. Oh,
Aja.
awesome. This is awesome.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um. um. Are there any advice for someone getting into mountain biking, especially a woman? Any advice you would give them?
Don't give up after the first time because it's gonna suck. Well, at least for me, it did. I would say just give it some time. Um, go on Amazon to find your gear at first. Don't invest in expensive jerseys and stuff unless you're like really committed to the sport and you want to start looking cute and things like that. Like get some affordable apparel at first, but then when you're in it, go buy Wild Rye because their stuff is sexy and amazing. Um, and give yourself some grace as you're learning. It's something new, it's different. Like everything's not going to come natural. I think sometimes when we come into something new, we want to be an expert at it right away. Even now, I'm what, 3 years in. There's things I still don't know where I'm like, gosh, I want to learn that. But that's a part of the journey. Like give yourself grace and enjoy the journey. Like there isn't a destination. There's not an end point. It's just keep having fun every time you do it and just leave it at that. And take lots of pictures when you ride because that makes it more fun too. At least that's what I do. I'm like, oh, a tree. Like me and my husband often joke like because he'll be ahead of me sometimes because he's just really fast. But when we finish, I'm like, did you see that waterfall or did you see that? And he's like, what? What? It's like you were busy going so fast, you missed all the good nature on the trails. So yeah.
Oh man.
But have
Um,
fun is the number one
speaking of,
thing. Have fun.
mhm, yeah, I think that's most important with anything that you do is to have fun. It's
Yeah.
like, why are you doing it if you're not gonna have fun?
Yeah.
You know. Um, one question about the gear: do you have to wear like knee pads, elbow pads, like a chest pad? Is that something that you wear?
Oh yes. That's probably a good point. I probably should call that out. So no, even if I'm just leisurely riding, like knee pads, elbow pads are typically like I always have that on because even though I have more hours on my bike, I could still fall. You could still always fall. And then let's say you're not wearing it and you fall and you get a little injury, like that could deter you from wanting to try it again. So just my basic protection is my knee pads. And then if I'm doing more aggressive riding that day, I'll even put elbow pads on. What else? I will say, I think I said it before, like a chamois. So like the cycling shorts that have the padding in them, it goes a long way. Let me tell you, like it saves
Yeah,
you from,
I do.
especially your first time riding. Like you get saddle sore just because your butt hasn't sat in that position ever. So having that cushion, having those shorts on with the cushion in it, it helps a lot. Um, Sunscreen, obviously your helmet. I know we wear sunscreen too. My
Exactly.
SPF might be a little lower, but still gotta wear it. And then gloves. I always wear gloves when I ride. I just my husband, he doesn't like wearing it. It's all preference. He doesn't like wearing gloves. He likes to feel the grips. But me, I have to have gloves on. I like feeling the gloves in my hands. So
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I go mountain biking, elbow pads, knee pads. Uh, I already have the gloves. I already have the shorts. So okay.
yeah.
I all right. Okay.
And I always tell people don't go expensive at first. Like literally go on Amazon, find some basic knee pads, because your first time riding, you're not full sending. Like you're not riding at the level to where you're gonna have a really hard crash. Like let's hopefully you're smart enough to, like if it's your first time and you see something you can't do or you're not familiar with, get off your bike and walk. But that's why I said as you get more invested in the sport, you start getting better and you start wanting to do more challenging things. Then I'd invest in some really hardcore, knee pads or just something different. But just you could cheap it out at first. You could cheap it out at first. I'm telling you the path that I took. That's the path I took. I had a lot of Walmart gear, a lot of Amazon gear at first, and then I started out. My skills started improving or increasing to where I was like, this isn't going to really protect me with what I'm doing, so I need something else.
No, that's a good thing. Because I was just thinking about it. I was like, listen, I got some skating elbow pads and knee pads that
You go. Yep.
I think that'll, and then if I start doing this more often, then I'll invest
Now people might look at you crazy
in
because like, what's she
multiple.
doing with those skate knee pads out here? But that's so what? You just say mind your business. So what?
That's right. They don't. You don't know me.
This is me. We got this.
Right. Exactly. Damn. You're right. Oh man. Um. Are there any final words? Anything you want to leave the audience with?
Why would you give me that big question? um, I will say, so any ladies watching this, black, brown, white, yellow, purple, green, blue, any ladies watching it, keep showing up, keep making space. The more you show up, the more it creates space for the rest of us ladies to jump in. And then even more specifically, the women of color, again, keep showing up. Um, it just creates more opportunity for us. Even thank you, Tay, for having this platform. It just opens the door for more of us. So just keep showing up. And then I'd probably say to my guys, just keep being an open arm for the ladies coming into the space. Like it's unfamiliar territory for a lot of us. We're trying to become more familiar with it, but the more we have you as our advocates and our supporters, the more it just makes it more fun. And most guys are already open and willing and they don't care about all that stuff. They're not as emotional as we are about it, us ladies. So, but yeah, keep showing up, ladies and guys. Keep welcoming us.
Those are good words. Good last words.
Thank you.
Well, Aja, I would like to thank you for being a guest on my podcast.
Thank you for
Again, I'm
having
so sorry for pronouncing your name wrong, but
me.
it's okay.
It's okay. Thank
Sorry.
you for having me. This is great. This is great. I really appreciate it. And tell Asia, me and her, we're gonna be talking soon, real soon. I'm gonna give her a big hug.
Oh gosh, I was so when I saw your name, I was like, "You're the only other
Yeah, no, it's
Asia
okay.
at the time." I thought I was just like,
Please, after
"Wow, look
this,
at this."
promise me you won't beat yourself up over it because I promise it's okay. Like, don't beat yourself up over it at all. Like, it's really no big deal. I promise.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Okay.
Again, thank you, and I'd love to have you back on, or when I come to Texas,
Let me know.
ride
I'm
with
here.
you. And when you come back out to New York, you know,
Yeah.
hit me up. And I don't really know of any trails, but we could ride around. We could find
We'll
something.
figure it out. We'll figure it out. Yep. Thank you again for having me. I'd love to come back
Yeah.
anytime. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is the Rolling with Tay podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, aka Tay, and thanks for listening and watching.